Welcome to episode 9 of Jalen's Take, the show where I give my take on all the best pop culture of the week. And this week, we are going through one of the most historic periods in all of comic book television. We got The Boys' final season, Invincible season 4, and Daredevil Born Again season 2 all airing at the same time. We got Daredevil Born Again Tuesday nights, and then Wednesday mornings, we got The Boys and Invincible. This is an insane lineup, and we got all these banger episodes this week, so let's just start talking about them, man. I'll start with Daredevil first. First of all, I low-key skipped season 1, I'll keep it a buck. I was watching the first episode and a half when season 1 was airing, but I kind of just found it boring, I'll be honest. But since this season, we had Daredevil, Invincible, and The Boys all coming out at the same time, I figured, you know what, I'll just tune in for season 2. And yeah, season 2 has been great so far, and I honestly don't feel like I've missed too much. When I watch these episodes, I don't feel very confused or I don't know what's going on. I feel like I get the gist of it. That's not to say I recommend skipping seasons of shows. I don't do that normally, and I don't recommend that practice, but I wanted to experience this era with the rest of the fan base, so here I am. But regardless, Daredevil Born Again season 2 has been alright so far. I think the highlight for me is definitely the action. It's so tough just watching Matt just mow people down. In the most recent episode, the highlight was by far Bullseye. I think he's probably my favorite character out of all the characters we've been introduced to so far in this show. Bullseye was just so freaking cool after last episode, man. Him just going crazy on all the AVF agents. I also really like Kingpin and Vanessa's dynamic, and after what happened in the last episode, I'm just sad, bro. I've been scrolling on social media, and a lot of people kind of hate Vanessa for some reason. I'm not sure why. I really like Vanessa. I think she's tough. I was looking forward to seeing more of her this season, but after last episode, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. That whole final scene at the boxing match with Bullseye, Kingpin, Vanessa, and then Daredevil showing up to save Bullseye was just so fire. I'm glad that Bullseye survived because him and Frank are the only people who are locked in on actually taking care of these AVF agents, man. These AVF agents are kidnapping people out of their homes, terrorizing the streets. But yeah, Daredevil Born Again season 2 has been pretty good so far. I think it's actually supposed to start picking up soon, so it might get even better. One thing I do gotta say though is I kind of find Matt and Karen's relationship boring. They're just very stale. I feel like their chemistry doesn't work too well. I feel like they have different, it just feels like these characters are too different at this point, and their values just seem too different to me. Matt's obviously stuck in his way of no killing, you gotta redeem everybody, but it seems like Karen just really wants to get shit done, and she's just tired of dealing with these guys, and she's ready to work with Bullseye and work with Frank, as it seems, to just get rid of all these AVF agents. I don't know though. I always respect a hero that has a no-kill rule. I think that's so tough. It just depends on how far you take it though, but we'll see where Daredevil goes in the rest of this season. The Boys' final season is finally here, bro. We have been waiting for this time for years. They actually dropped a 2-episode premiere, so we got a lot to go over here. To start us off, the opening to the premiere episode of the season was insane. I was literally mind blown. I couldn't believe that they opened the season with finally exposing Homelander for the Flight 37 video that happened way back in season 1, years ago in real life. Season 1 of The Boys came out 7 years ago, back in 2019, so the fact that he's finally getting exposed for this now was I just couldn't believe they opened the season with that, bro. We've been talking about exposing Homelander for so long, it's been planned for so long, and it just randomly happens at the start of the season. This is a huge moment we've been building up to, man. This moment has so much depth, so much history behind it, and it is immediately debunked because Homelander just calls it AI. That's right, Homelander abuses his platform and his power. He's got people in the White House as well, and they all just immediately come out and say it was AI generated by Starlighters. The video's not real. I cannot stand how realistic the show gets sometimes, bro. You can't tell me that if an incriminating video of a highly ranked official came out in today's day, that it wouldn't just immediately be called AI, man. But after Homelander gets exposed for that Flight 37 video, it just sends him derailing. Homelander just starts going off on literally everybody in the 7, all the other soups. The first person he kind of goes off on is Sage, and honestly, I'm starting to wonder if Sage actually has her own plan or if she really is just going along with Homelander. I feel like Sage is smart enough to find out a way to come out on top in the finals episode and surprise us all, but she doesn't really seem like she's got anything going on. But maybe she's just that smart and tricking me. I don't know. I do hope they have more planned for Sister Sage this season than just being one of Homelander's lackeys though. We also saw Homelander be harder on the Deep, and oh my gosh, that was hilarious in this episode. First, he pressed the Deep about his social media history, and the Deep easily was like, "Sir, you can check my phone." It was just so funny, bro. Such a hilarious scene. And then at the end of episode 2, Homelander actually made the Deep piss his pants. That shit was crazy. He flashed his heat vision at him for 2 seconds in public, and the Deep started peeing on himself, bro. I could not believe that. Homelander's going insane, bro. I mean, he was already insane, but he's going even more insane, I guess. But the main plot of the first episode they dropped is that we gotta break out Huey, MM, and Frenchie out of this freedom internment camp. And this rescue operation is low-key going really bad. Everybody's got caught. Homelander showed up to trap both Annie and Butcher, but that's when A-Train comes in at the last minute and clutches up, saving everybody. And when A-Train shows up, he leads Homelander away, and we get this awesome chase scene between the two of them. And right in the middle of this chase, this woman appears on the street, and this is a direct parallel to the pilot episode of the series when A-Train accidentally ran through Huey's girlfriend, which pretty much kicked off all the events of the show. But instead of A-Train running through this innocent bystander this time, he actually dodges them, which causes him to throw himself off, and he crash lands. Homelander catches up, and that's where we have a confrontation between these two. And A-Train just lets Homelander have it at this point. It felt like A-Train knew he was gonna die here, so he just told Homelander what he really thinks about him. He told him he's pathetic and he's nobody and he's a loser, and he's completely right. And Homelander reacted to this by, of course, killing him. And that's the end of A-Train, bro. I'm so sad to see A-Train go. Truly, he had one of the best arcs in the show, in my opinion, and I really think they should have let his redemption ride for a little bit more this season. I was okay with them deciding to kill him off, and I honestly think the way they did it with him dodging that innocent woman was perfect. But I just wish he had more to do in this season. It felt like they were setting him up to be a real member of the boys, a member of the resistance fighting back against Homelander and the Seven. So him dying in the first episode of the final season just feels kind of lackluster. I think he should have lasted a little bit longer. But thanks to A-Train's sacrifice, all the boys were able to escape, and they're able to regroup and come up with a new plan, which is what happens in episode 2. Episode 2 is all about the boys figuring out how they're gonna finally defeat Homelander again, and they settle on trying out the new virus that they worked out. This virus is supposed to kill every single soup on the planet, and so the boys plan to test it out on these heroes from this superhero team called Teenage Kicks. Specifically, this hero that's a giant rock. He's supposed to be really strong, so they think he's gotta be a good test subject. Meanwhile, Homelander is so insane and so upset about how he just killed A-Train, and he just feels so lonely about this that he decides he needs to free his dad, Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy was in some type of frozen, like, suspended animation type thing, and Homelander lets him out, like I said, because he's lonely. And so he tries to bond with his dad over this episode, and it is hilariously pathetic because I don't even think Soldier Boy really realizes that's what Homelander's doing, but it definitely was. Homelander spends the whole episode trying to impress Soldier Boy, and it's so silly. And then Homelander tells Soldier Boy about Butcher and about what they're trying to do, and Homelander just tells Soldier Boy to go after Butcher and the boys, not warning him that they had the virus and were ready to use it on any soup. So that's what Soldier Boy does. He goes after Butcher, and what happens, bro. The boys lead Soldier Boy right into a trap and test the virus on him, and it works like a charm. Soldier Boy collapses to the ground, and he seems to die. And everybody's celebrating. They're like, yes, we did it. The soup virus works. This virus also affected the Teenage Kicks heroes in the room as well. So it really seemed like the virus worked. It seemed like they found a way to stop soups. But then at the very end of the episode, Soldier Boy gets up, and it seems like the virus didn't kill him somehow. A lot of people have been theorizing that this is because Soldier Boy uses a very specific version of the Compound V that gives people superpowers, and maybe because he uses the original version of Compound V and not the different version that all the modern soups use, maybe that's the reason why he was able to survive the virus. We won't know till we see the next episode though, and I'm so curious. Honestly, I was really happy that the virus worked on Soldier Boy, because that, like, it has been so long since the boys actually got a win, you know what I mean? Like, they haven't actually gotten a win and made progress in their crusade to defeat the soups and defeat Homelander. So I thought them actually defeating Soldier Boy and shoving that in Homelander's face, that was such a good win, you know, that was such a huge win. But that's all right. I'm sure we've got plenty more things in store this season. I'm excited to see where they go with this. These first 2 episodes of The Boys season 5 were really good. I have no complaints. I'm ready, bro. Give it to me. Give me the rest of the season. Episode 6 of Invincible is the final thing that came out this week. And yeah, this episode is another banger. I think this is the best season of Invincible we've had so far. This episode had some of my most anticipated parts of the Invincible story as well. And I think that were adapted so well into animation and into the show. But this week's episode did start a lot of discourse, so we got a lot to talk about. So let's get straight into it. This episode opens up with the Viltrumite War fully starting. At the very beginning of the episode, we got both Thaddeus and Thrag talking to their civilizations, declaring war on each other. The Coalition and the Viltrumite Empire are finally at war. It looks like the Coalition is starting to win after they've liberated a bunch of the Viltrumite's Empire's planets. But we cut back to the planet where the Mark and Conquest fight ended, and we were right. After last episode, Mark did finish off Conquest, but he took a hell of a beating, man. I don't even know if beating is the right word. He got his guts, like, ripped out of him like it was a rope. And so Nolan and Oliver find Mark's body and they're just like, I mean, we can't really move him. We got to just keep him here and let him heal. So they stuff his guts back into his body and like kind of sew him up or something, like wrap him up with some bandages. And then they feed him this alien gooey stuff that gives him protein to help him heal over a few months' time. Not only do Viltrumites have insane regeneration, but I've also heard a couple people say that apparently if you just shove your guts back inside your body knows how to rearrange itself the right way. I don't know anatomy like that. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but honestly, it kind of sounds right. But the best part of this whole sequence is not that Mark won, it's the fact that we now have the perfect opportunity to watch Nolan and Oliver bond. While they gotta wait for Mark to finish healing, they have tons of time to explore this planet together and get to know each other, and it's just amazing. At first, of course, Oliver is upset at Nolan for plenty of things. Obviously, Nolan's done tons of horrible things on 2 different planets, but Oliver's really upset about the fact that when Nolan came back to Earth looking for Mark, he wasn't looking for Oliver. Oliver was so mad that Nolan didn't come to Earth to see him, even though he really had never even got the chance to meet his son. And Oliver was also upset at the fact that Nolan called Oliver's mother a mistake. But like I said, this episode was amazing, bro. Nolan takes this opportunity to clear up everything with his son. He tells Oliver that no, it was wrong to call your mother a mistake. That's not what I meant. He gives Oliver such an amazing apology and explanation. Of course, this apology and explanation doesn't erase the past. It doesn't necessarily make things better, but it does show that Nolan has done a lot of thinking about this stuff and that he really does feel sorry and he wants to be better. He wants to heal as much as he can. He wants to heal everybody else as much as he can, and he wants to be a better man. And he also just wants to be a better father to his sons in general, especially Oliver in this case. And that's what the rest of the episode is about. Him and Oliver just train and they explore this planet together looking for different kinds of food, and it's just so heartwarming, man. Oliver and Nolan are 2 of my favorite characters in this show. Watching them repair their relationship was a treat, bro. And I've said this every episode since Oliver's been here, I think, but in the comics, Oliver is such an insufferable, unlikable character, but in the show, he's so cool and likable. He's so rational. He's so mature. He's such a good kid. And it's a pleasure watching Oliver every season, bro. I love it so much. It's just amazing. And Nolan has such consistent writing throughout the season as well. Oh my gosh. And Nolan has such amazing writing as well, bro. His redemption arc and atonement for what he's done is handled amazing. Eventually though, Mark does get up and heal, and after some quick catching up, the 3 of them rejoin the fight on Telescaria, where the Viltrum Empire is attacking the capital of the coalition. Thrag himself is at this fight. Well, I say at this fight, but he's actually just hiding up in his ship. See, that's a whole nother issue with this episode. That's a huge point of discourse. A lot of people are saying that Thrag is a fraud after today's episode. And honestly, I kind of agree. I'm not liking how Thrag's been adapted so far. Obviously, in the next episode or next few episodes of the show, they could make Thrag so much cooler, but we only have 2 more episodes of this season, so they only have 2 more, they only have 2 more episodes to make it work. If Thrag doesn't do something real tough in these next 2 episodes, he's gonna be on Fraud Watch for sure. I'll just share my takes on Thrag and what I don't like about him so far. First of all, the voice acting is just not doing it for me. I don't necessarily think Lee Pace is a bad voice actor. His voice was great when he was playing Ronan the Accuser. I just don't like what they're doing with him in this show. I think he needs some different direction if possible. I also think Thrag's character design is kind of underwhelming, even though it does look like him from the comics. He just has like a baby face, and like his build just looks so just unassuming and just not threatening. Another massive complaint that me and a lot of people in the Invincible community shared about this episode is the power scaling. Invincible as a whole has just really bad power scaling, and it's something that even the creator admits. He says he doesn't really care about power scaling, but the thing about power scaling is that it's not just some super nerd concept that nerds care about. It is literally story consistency. It's having consistent writing in your stories regarding your character's strength. There's episodes in season 1 where you have Omni-Man doing the most insane things ever. He's carrying huge pieces of land. He's admitted to diverting a meteor the size of Texas from destroying the planet Earth, and he's destroyed an entire Flaxan civilization. Yet in the most recent episode of Invincible season 4, he's struggling to lift half of a spaceship that's smaller than things that we've seen him lift before and things that he's talked about lifting. It just doesn't make sense. This is inconsistent writing. That's what power scaling is. It's the writing portion of the powers, it's keeping your character's powers and strength consistent throughout the story. Mark also heavily struggles with power scaling issues as well. And the last major piece of discourse for this Invincible season is just the animation, bro. A lot of people, including myself, are just being let down by the animation in this show. The studio that's producing this show has the amount of resources necessary to make this a high quality show with consistently great animation all the way through. But that's just not happening for this show, and there are tons of reasons as to why this could be. It's very likely that the animators and VFX artists aren't getting paid enough or getting enough time to properly develop the look of this show. There was a comment that was left on a video by someone who was from the VFX/compositing team allegedly, and they're making the statement that there's only 4 people on that team in general. The fact that they only have 4 people working on the overall compositing and VFX for Invincible is absolutely ridiculous. They could afford to hire so many more people and pay those people livable, workable wages so we can get an amazing product. There is no reason for the animation to look like it does in a lot of these Invincible scenes, bro. There is just genuinely no reason. And I think the people that defend this animation, I just think that's kind of weird, I'll be honest. Why would you defend this? What's the reason for it? When you know that the animators are getting overworked, underpaid, there's not enough of them. That's the reason for the issue. All we got to do is advocate for better treatment for our animators, and our show will look better and it will become better. I don't see why people are so against this and against Invincible having better animation. All in all though, the season is still amazing. I'm still really enjoying Invincible. The show is definitely an improvement on the comics if we're looking at just the story alone, but if we're talking visuals, I would say the comics are low-key better. We got constant peak fiction coming at us, man. I know you guys are watching these shows with me. What are your takes on Invincible, Daredevil, or The Boys? Please let me know down in the comments. We need to talk about these shows, man.